Governor Scott Walker of Wisconsin. You just heard the state senators there. Governor, thanks for joining us. They're going to stay out as long as it takes. Are you ready to negotiate?
Well, the bottom line is we're trying to balance our budget. And there's really no room to negotiate on that because we're broke. Like nearly every other state across the country, we've got a massive deficit, $3.6 billion deficit. Ironically, many of those same Senate Democrats who are hiding out from taking on their responsibility to vote were the same folks who 2 years ago voted along with the previous governor to put $2 billion plus into the budget we're now going into that was one-time stimulus money. They helped create the hole. They did it through a short-term fix. We need a long-term solution,
but Governor,
which is more than just a negotiation right now.
As you know, your critics say this is not about balancing the budget. It's about union busting. And the unions and the Democrats have said they're willing to take the concessions on wage and health benefits. They're willing to take about an 8% pay cut, but they simply don't want you to take away their collective bargaining rights.
Well, Wisconsin has the strongest civil service system in the country. We had it long before collective bargaining rights. The rights that workers have in the state are based not on their contracts, they're based on that law, which again is the strongest in the country, and it protects things like merit hiring, it protects the grievance process, even termination with just cause. All those things remain even when our bill passes. But the difference is there is a cost to collective bargaining. I mean, I'll give you an example. Just with our school districts, if instead of being forced to buy from the WA Trust, which is the teachers union health insurance company, school district could buy off the state employee health care plan, they could save $68 million. I know it well. I used to be a county official for about 8.5 years. Every time I tried to do something sensible to balance our budget without laying people off, the union said, no, we don't want to make any changes. Go ahead, lay 400 or 500 people off. That's wrong and that's unacceptable. What we're asking for, realistically, is something that nearly every other person in this state and every other person across this country is paying a whole lot more for when it comes to retirement.
But they already said they're ready to give that up, Governor. They already said they're willing to give up on the pensions and on the health care. They already said that. They've already made those concessions.
But you can say anything in the midst of the debate. In December, after I was elected, but before I was sworn in, they tried to ram through a bill to push forward and lock in state employee health care, and contracts. The bottom line is they can say these things, but there are 424 school districts, there are 72 counties, there are 1,000 plus municipalities in this state. All of those can't guarantee the kind of savings that a handful of state union leaders are talking about. We cannot pass a budget that's going to have more than $1 billion worth of cuts in aid to local governments without giving them the tools to balance those budgets so they aren't lefts. Otherwise, we end up like New York State or California or other states who are cutting billions of dollars from their schools and local governments without giving them the tools to handle it.
We only have a little bit of time left, Governor, but I'm wondering how this thing all ends. As far as I understand, if you all don't reach some sort of agreement by the end of this week, you're going to lose your ability this time to refinance your debt, which is going to create even a bigger budget hole in the state of Wisconsin. Will you sit down and talk to your opponents before that happens?
If the state senators would come back, we'd gladly talk to them. But the reality is they're hiding out in a different state. They think somehow a handful of the minority can hold people hostage. And the reality is, if you want to participate in democracy, you got to come to where it's at, and that's in the arena. And the arena is in Madison, Wisconsin, not in Rockford or Chicago or anywhere outside of the state of Wisconsin. They've got to come to Wisconsin, do the job that they were elected to do the job that they're paid to do. And if they want to do that, we'll sit down and talk to them. But the bottom line is we can't negotiate over a budget because we're broke and we need the money.
Okay, Governor, thanks for your time this morning.
My pleasure, George.